Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Here's what we're facing. According to Russian state media, the Moskva, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, suffered a fire on board close to its ammunition stores. It then lost stability and sank in a stormy sea.
Nope.
Not buying it.
Okay, here's what really happened. The U.S. and NATO allies have confirmed that 2 Ukrainian-made Neptune anti-ship missiles struck the vessel. There is no record of how many of the 510 crew members survived, although Russian authorities did report the captain as a casualty. This is the same vessel that ordered the Ukrainian naval officers on Snake Island to surrender, prompting the now famous "go F yourself" response.
So apparently they did.
With a little help.
Commenting on the reports of the missile strike of the Moskva, Makim Marshenko, governor of the region around the Black Sea port of Odessa, said, "It has been confirmed that the missile cruiser Moskva today went exactly where the border guards on Snake Island told it to go." Now, let's zoom out a bit farther. Not that far. Thank you. It seems we have not done enough to pollute the earth, so now we are starting to dump trash on other worlds.
Garbage chute is a really wonderful idea. What an incredible smell you've discovered.
The Mars rover Perseverance spotted the debris left from its landing back on February 18th, 2021. In this photo, you can see the parachute and the back shell in the distance littering the Mars landscape. Although some seem to celebrate this as if in the future someone might find it like an ancient shipwreck, and to me it looks like we are just leaving our trash everywhere. When will we learn?
I feel like the maid. I just cleaned up this mess. Can we keep it clean for 10 minutes?
Meanwhile, back on Earth, after current failing Russian President Putin got his flagship sunk by Ukraine, it seems as if he really got his panties in a bunch and started lobbing missiles at Kyiv, sent Russian planes flying out of Belarus for an airstrike at Lviv.
Temper, temper.
The real fear is what is expected next in eastern Ukraine. The port city of Mariupol has thousands of defenders and civilians trapped in a Soviet-era steel plant. Putin has claimed success in Mariupol and his troops blockading the steel factory so that not even a fly could get out. It is feared that more war crime atrocities will be found there, similar to what was found in the other provinces, such as Bucha. How about some good news?
Yes, please.
The governor of Mississippi has declared April Genocide Awareness Month
Well done.
and Confederate Heritage Month.
Wait, Con Man Cheapskate Month?
What, did Trump's super PAC buy the rights to a month?
That's Confederate Heritage Month. Governor Tate Reeves unpacked Genocide Awareness Month as a time to reflect on the systematic destruction of lives and noted it had no place in society.
Agreed.
But he neglected to mention the devastating race-based institution of American slavery, or the near destruction of Native American people by the white colonizers in this country.
Of course, no, don't be ridiculous.
The Magnolia State's top government executive declared also Confederate Heritage Month as a time to recognize the state's Civil War history, a tradition initiated by his predecessors in 1993. Reeves proclaimed, April is the month when in 1861, the American Civil War began between the Confederate and Union armies, reportedly the costliest and deadliest war ever fought on American soil.
But
during an April 8th press conference presenting the proclamation, Reeves was asked a pertinent question.
This month you signed April as Genocide Awareness Month, but also Confederate Heritage Month. Do you believe that's to conflict, considering the documented history of killing and racism towards people of color in the Confederate South?
Look, I signed the Confederate Heritage Month in the month of April in the same manner and fashion that the 5 governors that came before me, Republicans and Democrats alike, for over 30 years have done that, and we did it again this year. Didn't think this was the year to stop doing it. So,
Why am I thinking that's not quite right?
Because former Mississippi Governor Ray Mabus, a Democrat that served in the capacity from 1988 to 1992, and one of the last 5 governors, said he never supported the initiative, tweeting his disdain for the proclamation. The only heritages of the Confederacy, as far as I can tell, are slavery and treason.
Bazinga!
Not surprisingly, Reeves' dual proclamation drew the ire of not only politicians, but also everyday citizens, many of whom have also pointed out the governor's announcement comes in the aftermath of his signing the state's highly contested critical race theory law on March 14th, where he called CRT a curriculum of indoctrination created to humiliate whites.
So there really isn't any good news, is there?
Oh, there is.
And
Oh, right. A groundbreaking treatment in the form of a nasal spray, which could protect people from all COVID variants, will advance to human trials after successful lab tests.
That sounds good.
According to researchers at Northwestern University and the University of Washington, the new spray contains potent proteins which target the virus's weak spots and prevent it from infecting the body.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
Some treatments, including vaccines, have become less effective at combating COVID as the virus has continued to evolve.
evolve?
I believe the term is
Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism into the dominant species on the planet. This process is slow, normally taking thousands and thousands of years. But every few hundred millennia, evolution leaps forward.
Rather than targeting just one site of the virus's infections, the treatment simultaneously binds to 3 sites, making the drug less likely to detach.
We discover a small molecule, a small drug, that can target the virus at its entry, at the point of infection into cells. So this creates a huge potential for being effective. You're stopping the virus right at the entrance.
Researchers found that the treatment reduced COVID symptoms and even prevented infections outright. This could potentially offer an alternative to vaccines. There is also a high chance the treatment could be self-administered using a one-time nasal spray.
You pull your right nostril out with your right finger and you spray just the opposite with your left hand. And you might need to sniff.
And finally, there was an interesting find this week. If you recall the slings and arrows that Ketanji Brown Jackson suffered at her Senate confirmation hearing, you may have wondered why such a qualified candidate was treated so harshly by Republican senators. This is nothing new. In fact, if you look back at all the nominees the Biden administration has put forth since winning the White House, there has been a plethora of roadblocks put up in the way. In his first year in office, he nominated 653 candidates, but only 355 were confirmed.
That's like only half.
In Biden's first year, the Senate confirmed only 55% of his nominations. While a small number were withdrawn by the president, 118 were returned at the end of the Senate session, meaning the president would either have to nominate that person again in the next session or nominate someone else. And 171 are still waiting a vote as of January 4th, 2022.
Why so few?
Why is this happening? Is it normal for Congress to do that so often?
In a word, no. Jane Meyer from the New Yorker magazine broke a story showing how Dark Money Group has been busy trying to thwart the president's entire slate of candidates. In the case of Ketanji Brown Jackson, the fierce campaign against her was concerning, in part because it was spearheaded by a new conservative dark money group that was created in 2020, the American Accountability Foundation. An explicit purpose of the AAF, a politically active, tax-exempt, nonprofit charity that doesn't disclose its backers, is to prevent the approval of all Biden administration nominees.
Crikey.
Shut the front door.
The group hosts a website, BidenNoms.com, that displays the photographs of administration nominees it has targeted as though they were hunting trophies. And the AAF hasn't just undermined nominees for the cabinet and court seats, the kinds of prominent people whose records are usually well known and well defended. It's also gone after relatively obscure sub-cabinet level political appointees, whose public profiles can be easily distorted and who have little entrenched support. The AAF, which is run by conservative white men,
Of course.
has particularly focused on blocking women and people of color. As of last month, more than a third of the 29 candidates that had publicly attacked were people of color, and nearly 60% were women.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
The AAF describes itself as a champion of transparency.
Bullshit.
But it declines to reveal the sources of its funding. When Meyer went to the mailing address, the DC building a few blocks from the Capitol, and asked for the group's basic financial records,
which all tax-exempt nonprofits are legally required to produce on demand.
a woman at the lobby's front desk said there was no such group at that address. Instead, the building is occupied by a different nonprofit group, the Conservative Partnership Institute, which serves as a kind of Isle of Elba for Trump loyalists in exile. It has become the employer of Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and of Trump's former ad hoc legal advisor, Cleta Mitchell, both of whom were fighting subpoenas from the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Very interesting, but not very tasteful.
Cameron Seward, the general counsel of the Conservative Partnership Institute, appeared in the lobby and assured Meyer that there was no relationship between his group and the AAF. Yet documents that the AAF filed with the IRS in 2021 to secure its tax-exempt status describe the group as existing in care of CPI. Moreover, CPI's 2021 annual report notes that it launched the AAF because conservatives didn't have a group performing research on Biden's woke nominees, even though plenty of liberal groups were digging up or manufacturing dirt on our side. The groups have several overlapping directors. The AAF told the IRS that its mission is to conduct nonpartisan research, but it's curious that the largest contribution by far to its parent group, CPI, is $1 million charitable contribution from, you guessed it, Save America, failed former President Donald Trump's Political Action Committee. Trump reportedly raised much of the PAC's money from supporters after his 2020 defeat, and his campaign has called the group an election defense fund.
Oh, there's a big surprise. That's an incredible. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
This has been my Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. The bosses get talking so tough. And if that wasn't evil enough, we get the drunken and passionate pride of the citizens along for the ride.